Yo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV today as we continue taking a look at some of the most important wrestlers of the last decade. These are some of the individuals who are instrumental in bringing the wrestling business from where it was at the start of the decade to where we currently find ourselves today, and there might be no change any bigger than what we have seen as it pertains to women's wrestling and where it has come and how far it has come over the course of the last 10 years. Which brings us to today's maybe controversial, maybe some of you guys aren't going to agree with this selection, and I can almost feel the keyboard warriors getting ready to gear up and hit me with their own hammers, but hopefully by the time we hit the end of this video, you will understand where I'm coming from. This woman in particular would impact professional wrestling so much that it was historic almost every single time she hit the ring, earning her the distinction of being one of the most important wrestlers in the entire decade, and we are going to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the most important wrestlers of the decade continued countdown. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
I could feel it. I could feel you guys, you know, from clicking the thumbnail who we are going to be talking about today, and my selection, not as only one of the most important female wrestlers of the last decade, but one of the most important wrestlers of the last decade, period, and that is Ronda Rousey.
What? Oh, what? She only wrestled for a year, Mr. Nightmare.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Sure, she only wrestled for the WWE for 1 year, but the UFC is real wrestling. So it still fits. It still counts under the title of this show. You can't discount her contributions to the UFC and what she has done in her career.
Oh, but what about Sasha and Bayley in the NXT match?
Hey, listen. You can make a case for a lot of women as for being important over the last decade. Sasha and Bayley's efforts in NXT and what they did for the women's division there, you can't deny that that was important. Was it more important than Ronda Rousey? I don't think so.
Oh, but what about Charlotte Flair? She's Ric Flair's daughter. She's a 10-time champion.
How is that more important? Charlotte Flair contributed to the women's revolution. She is a 10-time champion. She hasn't even been wrestling in the main roster for about 4 years. Her total championship time isn't that impressive when you combine total time for all 10 reigns. How is that more important than what Ronda Rousey did for the course of the last 10 years?
Oh, what about Nikki Bella and the Bella twins, Mr. Nightmare? They started to give the Divas a chance.
Do I even have to address that? Of course, like I said, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, the rise of the man, all of these things contributed to where women's wrestling has got themselves today. But none of that means as much as a legitimate UFC champion, a history-making individual, somebody who has nationwide, worldwide exposure, somebody who has proven to be one of the toughest, if not the toughest women on the planet. Look at what she has done for the UFC. She's a Hall of Famer. She's the first ever UFC bantamweight women's champion. She followed it with an impressive run. She lost the championship, and now she's out of the UFC. And now she's come to the WWE. But if you analyze the state of the WWE, while Ronda Rousey was kicking ass and making history in the UFC, the WWE wasn't even featuring the Divas Championship at WrestleMania. In fact, it took until WrestleMania 30, which is almost 4 years into the decade, for us to see a Divas Championship matchup. And whenever we had women on the card, which was sporadic and few and far between at a WrestleMania, it was always some sort of a celebrity tag team match. Maria Menounos, Snooki Polizzi. Stupid stuff. Stuff that made you think the WWE didn't take the women's division seriously. And even when they had the Divas division match, it was the Vicky Guerrero Invitational to try to take the championship away from AJ Lee, or whatever the hell the case might have been at WrestleMania 30. The following year at WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey makes her first WWE appearance in the ring center stage at WrestleMania with The Rock, opposite Triple H, on a card at WrestleMania that didn't even feature the Women's Championship, but it featured Ronda Rousey in a big-time spot with some of the WWE's biggest stars. And she started to flirt with the idea of coming to the WWE right around that time. So then what happens the very next year at WrestleMania? We have the Divas division dissolved, we have it named the Women's division, and we have the first ever inaugural Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Charlotte Flair is victorious. All of that was to make the Women's division look better. What do you think was the cause of that? From one year to the next, just look at the timing. There was no Ronda Rousey before 2015, but all of a sudden Ronda wants to come, and now the WWE starts taking shit seriously. Sasha and Bayley tear it down at NXT, giving validity to the women's revolution. The Bellas with the Divas a chance, and all this shit, it all culminated with the WWE saying, hey, we need to get Ronda Rousey. She's not going to come and participate in this dog and pony show that we call a women's division, so we need to fix it up. We need to make it legit. And that's what they did. Next thing you know, we have two women's divisions thanks to the brand split. Women's wrestling is being taken more seriously. It's being presented a lot more seriously. And it was all done, maybe not fully done, but for the most part, if you know Vince McMahon and you know the WWE, this was all to entice Ronda Rousey to please come play with us. We want to make a lot of money with you. And there is nothing wrong with that. It all contributed to where women's wrestling finds itself today. But what makes Ronda Rousey so important to everything, Mr. Nightmare? I already fucking told you guys. I already pointed it out. She has a pedigree that nobody else in the WWE can touch. So when a UFC fighter comes to the WWE, it brings a big fight feel. It brings championship level competition. It brings worldwide notoriety. She's a household name all over the world, so the viewership is going to be up. People are going to want to see what Ronda Rousey's going to do, and the WWE made all the right moves to do so. Without Ronda Rousey, is the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble, the main event the year that it main evented with Asuka winning? I don't believe so. Do you think we're going to get an Evolution pay-per-view without Vince McMahon being comfortable enough to headline it with a Ronda Rousey match for the WWE Women's Championship? Do you think the Women's WrestleMania main event had enough going for it with just Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch that it would have still ended up in the main event? Ronda Rousey was the reason for all of the history-making moments that brought women's wrestling to where it is as we are ending the decade. Which is one of the most important reasons I could point out to you why she is on this list over everybody else. Did I like Ronda Rousey when she came in? No! If you're a longtime fan of this show, you know that I'm being fair here because I was never a big mark for Ronda Rousey. I didn't flip out when she showed up. Was she still a little bit too green? Hell yeah. Was she booked terribly? Absolutely. She shouldn't have been booked as the happy baby-faced girl from the UFC, coming in smiling and waving and being all happy and excited to be there. She is the female equivalent to a Brock Lesnar. And that's how she should have been booked. No nonsense, badass, running through everybody in the women's division on her way to the championship. But the WWE didn't go that route. They took the worst way possible. We had to see her in matches with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax and countless other people that didn't even deserve to share the ring with her. And it all led to WrestleMania. That WrestleMania main event, the first time ever women were going to headline the biggest show in all of professional wrestling. That means a lot. That means a lot. All of the subsequent main events that we've gotten since WrestleMania is all because it happened there. And that is all thanks to the involvement of Ronda Rousey. The girls on the roster know it. I'm not saying she was the best wrestler in ring of the decade. I'm not saying she was the best performer in the WWE of the decade, but her importance cannot be diminished. Look at what's happened to the women's division since she's left, if you need any more proof of what I'm saying. Ever since Ronda Rousey left, it has been nothing but like a round robin of the same 4 horsewomen that we had before Ronda Rousey showed up. And maybe if they built somebody else to replace Ronda Rousey while she was getting ready to leave, this wouldn't be an issue. But the WWE doesn't build their own new stars. They relied on the star power that already came in with Ronda Rousey. And regardless what you feel about how she was brought in, how maybe she was given too much too soon, maybe she should have went to NXT first, you got to put all of your criticisms aside and just take a look at the package as a whole. And there's no way the women get the main event without Ronda Rousey. There's no way Evolution goes down, even though they were trying to make up for the girls not being part of the Saudi Arabia show. They would not have been comfortable putting on that show without that big name of Ronda Rousey on the marquee. She's big fight feel, man. She brings a certain level of respect and a huge level of legitimacy to what goes on in between those ropes. Is she ever going to come back? We don't know. Did she only wrestle for 1 year in the WWE? Yes, but that 1 year is so important to the whole of women's wrestling. That sounded terrible, but to the entirety of women's wrestling, that you have to give the woman the credit where it is deserved. UFC Hall of Famer, first time ever UFC champion, came into the WWE and knocked the door right off the hinges. Within 6 months, she was the Raw Women's Champion. She had a list of people that she got to perform with, and she got to main event WrestleMania opposite Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. She brings an attention that nobody else can bring. I don't care how much you love Charlotte, how much you love Sasha, their matches will not bring as much attention to a WWE card as an appearance by Ronda Rousey. Just by appearing alone. Even if she's just there, she don't have to do much. People are going to want to tune in to see what happens now. In fact, just this past year, we've been waiting for Ronda Rousey to come back. They've been doing so many things with the invasion of NXT and the involvement of Shayna Baszler that we thought that Ronda Rousey was going to show up at the end of the Survivor Series, and when she didn't, we were all pissed off about it. She means a lot to the sport. And yeah, UFC and WWE are two different companies, and yes, one is scripted and the other is real combat, but at the end it's all wrestling. It's all wrestling. So you have to say, without question, Ronda Rousey is one of the most important wrestlers of this last decade. Let me know if you guys agree with me. I'm hoping you do. I hope you guys don't rip me apart for this, because all of the Sasha fans are going to be for their girl, and all of the Charlotte fans are going to be for their girl. But be honest. Yes, they all contributed to the rise of women's wrestling, but nothing was more important. Nothing was bigger, nothing was more impactful than the arrival of Ronda Rousey, which allowed the WWE to push the women's revolution and push their agenda right to the top of the WrestleMania card, which we actually may never even see again. But that remains to be seen. Thank you guys so much for joining me for our continuing countdown. Well, it's not really a countdown. I said countdown before, but there's no particular order. There's no reason for the order that we're listing them. We are just giving you guys our list of who we feel are the most important wrestlers of the decade. Not in how they perform in the ring or anything other than what they have done to have changed the industry for the better, or in sometimes for the worse. But that is what we got for you today. Hopefully you don't hate me too much and you will hit that subscribe button so that you will be here for our weekly Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and AEW reviews so that you will be here when the next installment of this video series that we are doing to close out 2019 rolls on. And I want you guys to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Smash that like button if you enjoyed today's show. Make sure you hit that round of applause if you feel like you can do so. I would much appreciate that. I would like to see if it even works. So if anybody can hit that and feel free to contribute to the show, you can do that for me. It would be awesome. Don't forget to share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, as we want to tell the world who the most important wrestlers of the decade are in this last 10 years. And don't forget to pick up your t-shirt. Sledgehammer TV t-shirts and apparel are available. Bonfire.com/store/sledgehammer-TV. The Poop Hammer t-shirt, the deadliest weapon in all of pro wrestling reviews, and the Sledgehammer TV logo t-shirt, which is available in 5 spectacular wrestling related colors. Thank you guys once again for joining me. Pick up your t-shirts and merch if you can. The best way to support this show is to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all for being here. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. That, my friend, is going to do it. We are out of here. We will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, I hope, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.